So we've got our basic welcome message built now. We've also told people that come through on a welcome message that they can sign up to our offer program to get their first 50% off voucher. Once they tap get offer, they're now going to be asked for their email address, which they have to provide. When it actually asks those people for their email address, it is actually going to give them the option of a button to just share the email address rather than have to type it in. Facebook obviously knows their account email address, so it offers them that option to share it. So it's very, very low friction, very, very easy way for people to hand over their contact details. Now, the next stage, of course, is that we need to build the offer itself that we're going to deliver. So once someone's given us their email, we want to actually then send them the offer right in Messenger so that they can actually come into the restaurant, the cafe, the bar, and actually redeem it. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to go back to the flow section and we're going to create a brand new flow just for the offer. So this is going to be offer 1. I'm going to click create. So this is actually going to be the kind of digital voucher, if you like, that gets sent to the person once they've given us their email address and signed up for our offers program. So what we need to do here is actually type the terms of the offer into the message, and maybe also give a nice image or a nice picture or something like that, just to make it sort of seem a little bit more official, a little bit more professional as well. So first thing we want to do is say bring this voucher into the restaurant to get 50% off any dish of your choice. And then down here, we're going to want to put in some terms and conditions. So we might say 1 offer per customer. We might say not available in conjunction with any other offer or promotion. Now, obviously, you need to work out exactly what your terms are. I mean, I'm writing these really as an example. Certainly don't copy these. Make sure that you come up with your own terms that are appropriate for whatever you're doing. You know, it's going to be different depending on, you know, what kind of business, what kind of restaurant you've got, and what kind of offer you're giving the customers as well. So really make sure you think about this carefully. It is very important, and don't just copy this. What we also want to do is we want to put a time frame on the validity of the offer. So we'd say something like, what we find works best generally is around 60 days. People don't tend to jump straight in and claim these offers, but at the same time, we want to put some kind of time limit on it because it creates more of a scarcity with the offers. So what we found generally a good sort of average or a good place to start is around 60 days, but you know, you can obviously experiment with that yourself to find out what works best. So we're going to say here, offer valid, and I like to put this bit in capitals, or at least use some kind of method to make it very clear, for 60 days from the date you received it. So that's our offer text there. I'll read it out. Bring this voucher into the restaurant to get 50% off any dish of your choice. 1 offer per customer, not available in conjunction with any other offer or promotion. Offer valid for 60 days from the date you received it. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure that when someone comes into the restaurant to claim this offer and they bring this message in with them, that there's some way that they can actually communicate back with us that they've redeemed it. So what we're going to want to do here is we want to say at the bottom of this voucher, tap redeem below when restaurants when you're at the restaurant premises. So tap redeem below when you are at the restaurant premises. So then we're going to add a button here that obviously says redeem. Now what we do know, of course, is that people are going to tap redeem anyway because people are just too inquisitive. So what we want to do is just give people a warning. If they do tap redeem, we're going to send them one final message that says, are you sure you want to redeem your offer? If you proceed, this cannot be undone and the offer will become invalid. So are you sure you want to redeem your offer? If you proceed, this cannot be undone and the offer will become invalid. Please ensure your server has seen this message before you complete, before you tap redeem now. So please ensure your server has seen this message before you tap redeem now. Then obviously we're going to create a redeem now button. So we've logged that. So when they tap redeem now, we're obviously then going to want to confirm the redemption of the offer. So we're going to need to make sure obviously that our staff, our waiters, waitresses, our staff on the floor know about this and that they're trained so that they can understand that when someone shows them this on their phone to claim the offer, that they make sure that the customer taps not only redeem, but also redeem now so that they can complete the redemption. Because what we're going to do, we're going to send them a message to obviously thank them for redeeming, but we also want to make sure that we tag these people to show that they have actually completed the redemption of the offer so that we can track how many people are actually coming in to our restaurant and spending money. So there's two things we need to do here. So we'll start with the message that we're going to send the customer once they've clicked redeem now, once they've completed the redemption process. This is a really good place now to have some kind of system in place so that you can track how much is actually being spent when someone redeems, because obviously they're going to redeem an offer which you know might hold some kind of value, but you're not actually going to know what their total bill spend is. Now, there's a way that we use in Messenger, which I'm not going to get into now. If you want to understand how we do it in Messenger, then just get in touch with us via Messenger. Sort my social on Facebook, go over to our Messenger channel, come through there, and I will personally show you how you can do that. But for the purposes of this example and this training, I'm going to keep it simple. So If you don't want to do it through Messenger, if you don't want to track how much gets spent through Messenger, that's fine. But just have something in place. A lot of modern till systems now, in some cases, are able to track, obviously, certain or put certain markers on certain bills. So maybe your staff could do that. But whatever way you choose to do it, just make sure that you've got some kind of way of tracking how much gets spent. Because it's great tracking the redemptions, which is what we're doing here, but we need something on the back end to make sure to make sure that we can understand how much money we're actually making. That means then that we obviously know how much money that we can spend to actually get people into this system. And it really just becomes a maths equation rather than a marketing problem at that point. So the message that we're going to send to our customer who's just redeemed our wonderful offer, we're going to say, thanks for redeeming our offer. We'll also say something along the lines. I mean, this is a great time to ask for a review, right? So someone's just come into the restaurant. Hopefully they had a great meal. They've just paid their bill. They've got a load of money off. They're going to be hopefully pretty happy. So it's a great time to request a review. So we're going to say thanks for redeeming our offer. Hold tight for the next offer coming soon. And then we're going to want to say, please consider leaving us a review. It means a lot to get feedback from all of our customers. What you could do, you could be a bit playful with it. Now, obviously not everyone's going to click on this, we know that, but you will find that, it's just a numbers game. So get enough people in going through the system, it's going to generate you some reviews. Let me just find what I wanted was a heart, actually, just showing a little bit of love there. Then we're going to want to click leave review, obviously. Create a leave review button. And then this button, it obviously isn't going to go to a message. This is actually what we want to click here is open website. So then what you would do is go to Facebook. Okay, what you can do here is you just copy your Facebook homepage, put in your website, and then just click reviews. Sorry, type reviews there. And that will take people right to the review page. You could also put TripAdvisor in there, of course. It depends, there might be a whole host of other review platforms that you're looking to generate reviews on, whatever they may be. You can just put the link to that review page in there. Make sure that you send people to the actual page they need to go to leave a review. It's better than sending them to, your Facebook homepage, for example, because it just makes it easier. The easier you can make it for someone to do something, the more likely they're going to do it. So click done. And then really important point here, make sure you click publish. So this isn't actually going to fire yet because we've not actually set up the welcome message. Anyone coming into our Messenger channel at the moment is just going to come in. They're not going to see any change because they're not going to have any kind of mechanism to fire this yet. But let's just go through what we've got here. So we've now got an offer that we've delivered. What I would also recommend doing actually is click on the image section here. What we can then do is move this up and just drag it above, and then we can add our image. So I'm just going to click that there. And then we've got a nice little logo. Now obviously you can put whatever image you want, but it does just makes it look a little bit nicer, a little bit easier on the eye. So we've got our redemption offer options set up now. We've asked them if they'd leave a review. So the next thing that we're going to want to do is connect this up to our welcome message. But before we do that, I'm actually going to create a reminder that's going to go out as well. So if we go back to our flows section, we're going to create another new flow now. And we're going to call it reminder day 30. Remember, we've chosen a 60-day redemption period here, so 30 days, middle of the road. We're going to send people a reminder if they haven't already redeemed our offer. So what we need to do now is we need to create a send email task effectively on the flow. So we're going to click on the little box here and click send email, and this is going to create a new box, and this is going to actually be the email that we send. This is literally going to be where we type the email that we're going to send in. So the subject, we can just type in don't forget your offer. Don't forget your offer. And then maybe we'll just put another emoji in there. Always, I find adding emojis to email subjects when you're doing things like this really does help make it stand out, because not many people do it. And it just makes your email just stand out that little bit more in the inbox. And every little helps with emails, especially with the open rates that we see these days. So it's a good little thing to do. Let's just put a blue heart and a picture of a burger there. Or not. And then pre-header, we'll just put 50% off. So our headline, so this is going to be the main body text of the email. So you can see here, we can actually create different elements. So just like I showed you earlier in the message we do on Messenger, you can add images and stuff. You can do all that here. So, you know, maybe you wanted to add 2 images, you can copy one in down there. And then obviously if you want to move things around, you can move them to different parts of the, I think, somehow, although it doesn't seem to be working out, but you can move them around. We're just going to keep this simple. Okay, so we're just going to say tap open in Messenger below to get your offer. And then again, maybe we'll put in here, maybe we'll put a little image of our burger. And then this bit of text, actually, we can maybe we'll actually put the offer 50% off any dish. And then you can see here we've got a default open in Messenger option. Of course, we're going to want that, but what we're going to want to do is when someone taps that, we want to make sure that it performs a specific action when they come back into Messenger. So of course, what we're going to want to do is we're actually going to want to start another flow. So we're going to want to send them from the email back to our offer. So if we click start another flow here, we then have to click and select our flow. This is going to bring you back to your list of flows that you've built. So we're going to go obviously to offer 1. We're going to click select this flow. And that is going to then take us from the email back to offer 1. So when someone taps that on their phone or their computer, most likely their phone, it's going to open the Messenger app or the Messenger web page, and it's going to deliver them the offer flow wherever it was that they last left off. Okay, so that's a simple reminder. We actually like to do a couple of reminders. I'm just going to delete this text message. What we also need to do is actually create a starting step section, and we'll actually move the starting step section, should I say. So click on the starting step, you drag it over and put it onto your email. That means you can then delete this idle send message option. So obviously at the moment, this email is not actually going to send to anyone, right? So what we need to do now is we need to make sure that we create a sequence that is going to send this after 30 days to anyone that hasn't redeemed. So the question now is, how do we know whether people have redeemed or not? So we need to make sure that we use something called a tag. And all a tag is it's literally just a piece of text that you can apply against someone's name in your list, so that you know that they've taken a certain action, or maybe they've answered a certain question, or they've told you a certain thing. about themselves, so you can differentiate them. And then what you can do is you can obviously group those tags together into groups. So we could, if we tag someone that's redeemed, if we tag all the people, sorry, that have redeemed, we'll be able to list or filter out all the people that have redeemed an offer in the past. And maybe we might want to send them a message, or we might want to take a certain action just for those people. And we might want to take a different action, obviously, which I'm going to show you now, for people that haven't redeemed, by sending them something like a reminder. But tags are great for all sorts of other things. You know, maybe you find out that someone is a vegan by asking them, you know, their dietary preferences. You can automatically tag them when they tell you that they're a vegan, or answer a question about, you know, what diet they have with a particular tag relating to the diet. And then again, that means that you can make sure that you send them messages, send them offers that are going to be appropriate for their needs, and make sure it's really targeted. But what I'm going to do now is just go back over to our flow page, and we're going to go back to our offer. So what we need to do here is we actually need to add a tag when someone has completed the redemption. Now, the best place to do that is going to be on this last bit, because once this final redemption's fired and it goes to this message, we then know that they've actually come in and they've redeemed the offer. We fired them the review request as well. So if we click on edit, I'm going to click over to the leave review message here, and then we're going to want to select this bit at the bottom which says continue to another step. So what that means is that once this message fires, we're automatically going to fire or going to launch another action. So when I click on this little button or this little blob here, if I click again, I'll be able to do a number of things. We want to do an action here. So this is the bit where we can actually tag them. So what's going to happen is this message is going to be sent, and then we're automatically going to tell ManyChat to add a tag. So then we're going to click on the add action button and then simply add tag. Now, if you haven't got any tags set up yet, you literally can set it up right from this page. So our tag is going to be redeemed offer for 50% off. You could just call it offer one, doesn't matter. I think we've got some redeemed offer ones, which is why I've changed that tag out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new sequence, and all the sequences is a timed or a time-bound action. So if you wanted to send our email after 30 days, we would use a sequence to fire it after someone's opted in for 30 days. So what we'll do here is we want to create a new sequence. Just click the button at the top there. This is going to be 30, or sorry, just call it reminder. And we're going to click create. So we want to create a new message. And you can see here you've got options on the side here. So what we're going to say is after 30 days, you can just type this in here actually. After 30 days, we want to send them our 30-day reminder. And then we want to select existing and then click our newly published reminder flow. So what's going to happen now, after 30 days, people that are subscribed to this sequence, which I'll show you how we do that in a minute, are going to receive our 30-day reminder. We need to make sure we obviously turn that on. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to make sure that we tell people, or that we put people into this sequence that opt in for our offer.